کانادا از نظر مساحت دومین کشور بزرگ جهان است.
Canada is a nation in North America. It is the second largest country in the world after Russia, in terms of overall area, and occupies roughly the northern 2/5 of the continent of North America.
کانادا با بیش از 243,000 کیلومتر خط ساحلی طولانی ترین خط ساحلی جهان را دارد.
Canada's coastline, which is said to be the longest in the world. This coastline is 243,000 kilometers long. Even though Canada is only the second largest country by territory, it has the longest coastline in the world.
بیش از 62% دریاچه‌های جهان در کانادا قرار دارند.
Did you know that there are about 879,800 lakes in this country? Total count of lakes around the world is 1.42 million, so it means almost 62% of those lakes can be found in Canada.
کانادا دارای 6 ساعت زمانی مختلف است: Pacific, Mountain, Central, Atlantic, Eastern و نیوفنلند.
So the difference from here to here is 5.5 hours. Okay, so that's a lot. You know, Canada's a huge country, so there are 5.5 time zones. Okay, so over here on the west coast we have Pacific time. Okay, so Pacific time here, and then here is Mountain time. Okay, and then here is Central time, and here is Eastern time. Here is Atlantic time, and here is Newfoundland time.
کانادا دارای طولانی ترین بزرگراه جهان به نام بزرگراه ترانس کانادا است که بیش از 7800 کیلومتر امتداد دارد.
By looking at this map, we can see that the network really does stretch from coast to coast. I mean, that's kind of the point of the highway system, right? It does, however, completely ignore the poor territories, which are instead served by provincial and territorial highways. In total, this network spans 7,821 kilometers and is not confined to one single route. It's actually a system with multiple routes, all financed partly by the federal government, and they all have different names, although mostly limited to numbers. We can also notice some particularities, such as the fact that the system is present on islands such as Newfoundland, Vancouver Island, and even Graham Island off the coast of British Columbia.
کانادا دارای تنوع گسترده‌ای از حیات وحش است، از جمله خرس، موس، گرگ و سگ‌های آبی. کانادا بزرگترین تولید کننده شیره افرا در جهان است و بیش از 70% از تولید جهانی را به خود اختصاص می‌دهد.
Maple syrup. Quebec is actually the main producer of maple syrup in Canada, and as a result, Quebecers really lean into that as one of their symbols.
Maple syrup.
I love maple syrup. I'm a big fan.
Wow. Yeah, that's the best thing ever. Oh my God. That's delicious. So good. So good, bro.
It's like heaven. So good.
Real maple syrup is a special treat. It's sweet with notes of caramel, and it's the perfect consistency for fluffy pancake.
Making maple syrup should be simple. It's just taking what the tree gives you without adding anything. And yet, that doesn't make it easy. The way to harvest it used to be collecting the maple water from each individual tree during a short window of time after winter, but before spring officially arrives.
The sap is still 98% water by weight. So you take the sap to a sugar house. Here, the raw sap gets boiled down.
You gotta cook it because this is coming from the ground, there's bacteria.
How long does this take to produce?
24 hours.
24 hours?
24 hours. Sometimes we sleep down here in the woodshed. These kettles hold 60 liters of sap.
And how much you left with in the end?
1.5.
You need 40 liters of sap to do 1 liters of maple syrup.
40 to 1.
بیش از 20% جمعیت کانادا را مهاجران تشکیل می‌دهند.
Almost 22% of Canada's population is foreign-born. Largest number of immigrants to Canada come from Philippines, India, China, Iran, Pakistan, the US, Syria, the UK, France, and South Korea.
کانادا دو زبان رسمی انگلیسی و فرانسوی دارد.
French-speaking population, also called the Francophone, covers approximately 22.8% of the Canadian population. They are mostly found in Quebec, where it is used as the official language. It's not surprising, since Quebec is an ancient French city that held on to its French values. Other popular French-speaking regions include about 1/3 of New Brunswick Province, which is a bilingual region, recognizing both English and French as their official languages, with no one surpassing the other. French is also an official language in all three Canadian territories, comprising the Nunavut, Yukon, and Northwest territories. The provincial governments of New Brunswick, Ontario, and Manitoba have their official languages as English, but are also required by law to provide services and other official operations in French, where its provision is justified by the number of French speakers available in the region. The English-speaking population covers about 56% of the total Canadian population, which makes it dominant.
کانادا دارای بزرگترین جزیره آب شیرین جهان به نام جزیره منیتولین است که در دریاچه هیوران واقع شده.
Manitoulin Island, situated in northeastern Ontario in Lake Huron, it's the world's largest freshwater island. Manitoulin Island, strangely, is also home to more than 100 inland lakes, some of which have their own islands.
نام کانادا از واژه کانادا به معنای روستا یا آبادی گرفته شده است.
Its history comes from the Iroquoian indigenous people's word Kanata, which means village or settlement. In this case, the settlement was the St. Lawrence River, which is present-day Quebec City. The indigenous inhabitants in present-day Quebec City used the word Kanata to guide a French explorer by the name of Jacques Cartier to meet with their village. This is the key event, because European books and maps started referring to this area as Canada as well. Now fast forward over 300 years to 1867. Canada becomes an official country and the name Canada becomes the legal name of the country. Sometimes it's crazy to think how a small event can lead to an entire country being named. In this case, the name Canada shows the indigenous history that makes Canada the country that we live in today.
90% زمین‌های کانادا قابل سکونت نیست.
Most of Canada is uninhabited wilderness, and Arctic temperatures make the northern territories inhospitable to large population centers. The country is made up of 10 provinces and 3 territories. A majority of Canada reside within 100 kilometers of the US border.
سردترین دمای ثبت شده در کانادا -63 درجه بوده که در فوریه سال 1947 در یوکان بوده است.
The coldest temperature ever recorded was a negative 63 degrees Celsius at Snag in the Yukon Territory on February 3rd, 1947.